Hi guys, it's Don here from the board. In this video, I want to go over a few things that I received in the mail today. I had actually forgot that I had this coming because I was a bit preoccupied by some other things, so it was quite a pleasant surprise when it did come. Recently on Mech Market, I'd actually bought a set of the DSA Borealis mods for an ErgoDox, and they were just blanks. And the person who had sold them to me, ayybasketballs, was also kind enough to throw in a couple of the Razer Kailh switches, the greens. So I thought I would give them a bit of a sound test on my switch tester that you can see sort of just over in the corner here. And I haven't actually taken any of the mods out of the packet, but I want to put them on in front of everybody else on camera. Well, it's not live stream, but you know what I mean. And I'm excited enough that I want to put them on to see how they look, as well as just give my impressions on it, because I've never actually used anything that was a DSA profile. So I've got Cherry and I've got OEM profile, and going onto the DSAs is going to be something different. So we'll have a look at the set and how it compares to kind of expectations, just looking at what's there out on the internet. So first of all, I have the old switch tester there. There we go. Comes into focus, and the green switch is that one there. It is a clicky, and so I'm just going to hold it up to the microphone and I'll call out what I'm pressing so you can hear what actually is happening. In order to get it, I might as well move the microphone and we'll see how it goes, hey? Alright, so this is a Gatoron. Well, not really able to see it very well. You can kind of see it through the mesh. Gatoron greens. Oh, my bad. They were cherry greens. Cherry blues. The Gatoron greens. Gatoron blues. And then this is the Razer green clicky. So it doesn't really sound that different, at least not to my relatively untrained ear. It is a clicky. It does have a different pitch to the other clicky switches, but I wouldn't say that it's exactly a deal breaker in the way that it sounds. Now, people talk about how scratchy Razers are and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how old these switches are. I don't know how well worn these switches are, so I can't really say if that they've had a lot of use that might have made them smoother. I can kind of feel that there's a bit of stem wobble on them that I'm not really getting as much from the others. And in terms of just looking at the build quality on the housing and whatnot, it looks fairly standardish. The plastic is a different kind of texture to the cherry switches. But what can I say? It's a switch. So there we go. Nice and simple, just a little bit of a sound test there, if anybody was interested. So moving right along, just let me reposition my microphone a little bit. Okay, there it is. There's my ErgoDox awaiting its hardware, and there is the packet of DSA Borealis. There we go. Now I'm just going to flash up on the screen there from the Pimp My Keyboard site what the key set layout is meant to look like. So you can see that there, and it's meant to be the darks, the purples, running into the blues, into the light blues, and then into the teal, kind of aqua, cyan, turquoise, whatever you want to call it, on the bottom row. So let's take that off the screen. Let's pull these out. Now, in case you're wondering what's with the circles and eyes that are lying around, I was actually given the suggestion to use eyes on something. They said draw it on my thumbs, but I didn't really want to draw on my thumbs. But apparently the autofocus is kind of designed to focus on eyes. So if I want to try and bring the autofocus faster, if I put some eyes in that platform, it'll do the trick. And it kind of works. But yeah. So, first impressions, hey? Well, these are ABS plastic. Oop, just dropped it. They're lightweight. They feel pretty solid. A little bit of flex on that that key there. Nothing too major. Now, I do have a there's a cherry profile, so you can kind of see there's a little bit of a height difference. Nothing major. Maybe if I use something that's a little bit straighter, more distinct. There we go. It's a couple of mil maybe in it. And then I have a OEM as well, and you can see on the OEM there is a massive difference in height. But of course you do have to remember that this is also going to be a different row compared to that particular row, which is the top row on most full-size or 10 keyless keyboards. In terms of thickness, it's a good thickness there. We can get the ruler out and have a look. So it's about a mil and a half thereabouts, maybe. Just gonna have a look a bit closer. No, it's just on a mil. It's still a pretty good thickness. It's stepped, that you can see inside, so it doesn't have any support ridges on it, and the 1U keys also don't have any supports. Whereas on, for example, these double shots, you'll see that they've got the internal support frame, which my cherry profile also has that crucifix supporting arrangement. They're textured, which is nice, so they're not completely smooth, but because they are ABS, you will expect that at some point they're probably going to have a bit of shine. But that's okay. So let's fit these bad boys on, see how the board looks. There's one. Now I don't know if there's any particular orientation to these, so if I don't get them on right, someone's going to have to tell me. So there's, I should probably find out where those lighter colors are, hey? Okay, so there's the lighters, and there's the darker. Alright, let's go with where you sitting flush. The right way. The right way. Well, best part I guess is that they do come off if I need them to. I think that goes that way. And I think they go that way. And we have a bunch of 1Us. This is really confusing. I only wish that they had some kind of marker on which way they're supposed to go. Oh well, I'll find out soon enough, maybe. Is that the way it's supposed to sit? Alright. My apologies there for blocking the light, getting in the way. I realise this probably isn't terribly exciting, but if you're still watching, thank you. It's exciting for me, so I'm going to keep at it. And I thought I'd just share the experience along the way. So we've got two more of these on this side, however they sit. Maybe? Oh, I don't know. Alright, and then it's the light ones. So there's a light one there. And there's a light one there. We got a dark, a light, and then a one purple up top. Check it out. That looks pretty snazzy. And let's try and replicate that on the other side, shall we? A little bit faster. Now that I know what I'm doing with these, kind of. That's the lighter one. That's the dark one. I am still actually on the hunt for some 1U with alphas on them. At the time that I'm recording this, actually, tomorrow is going to be a grab bag sale on Pimp My Keyboards at 2 p.m. Pacific time. They, I believe, said that they're going to be about $50 a bag plus 15 shipping anywhere in the world. So if you're looking for a 3-pound bag of randomness, that's where you're going to get them. They do have 10, I believe, $100 PMK caps in there, and if you're one of the lucky 10 to actually nab one from a grab bag, it means you'll have $100 worth of credit from their store. It's a lucky gamble, I guess, because if you buy one and you're up for profit, plus the fact that you've still got a bag of caps. For me, however, it is 9 a.m. Australian Sydney time, so it's not likely I'm going to be getting in on that sale. Although I'm sure there'll be plenty of vomit leftovers from different people hitting Mac Market soon enough, and maybe if I'm lucky, I might be able to scrounge up something. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Nearly there. Alright. So, I think that one might have been on backwards, but that's alright. I can fix it later. There's the dark, it goes on top, and then there's the light. Now, the interesting thing about the ErgoDox, now that that's together, is the fact that it doesn't actually have any stabilizers mounted on it. Now, it's not too late if I wanted to put some stabilizers on it, because I'm not using a plate. So I just pull the keycaps off and then get some cherry stabilizers and put them on. I don't have any spare at the moment, but you know, I could. I have been told that it's not necessary because of the orientation of the actual keys. You're actually going to be hitting them pretty straight on, and I wasn't sure. Obviously everybody doesn't. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I haven't seen anybody put stabilizers on, and with the plate design that's on GitHub that you can get, apparently the actual plate orientation is incorrect in one of the versions. It's flipped around the wrong way, so it doesn't even work. It was a mistake that was made when they were designing it, and most people have basically come to the conclusion that it's not necessary to have them. And as you can see, I'm pretty much in agreement there. I don't think you need to have those stabilizers at all. In terms of color, it's nice. I do feel it's probably a little bit more muted than what graphically they look like. Now, the lighting in here is actually pretty ordinary. It's just a yellow room light. I don't have any fancy lighting on here at all, so the colors that you see is pretty standard. It's a warm yellow. It could be brighter. In a brighter light, perhaps in a whiter light, it might be a bit brighter, but I don't mind it. It's quite a nice color scheme, and you can definitely see. Oh, let me orientate that correctly. That is not the McRib effect. That is, in fact, a wonky switch, which I talked about in my earlier videos, because of the fact that the solder bead from my diodes were on the switch side and they interfered with the actual switch. But that said, that particular key is in a tab position, which, you know, it doesn't matter if it's slightly wonky. It doesn't get in the way of using any of the other keys. So now that these keycaps are on, I can have kind of like a feel of the layout, and I like it. I feel I could probably get used to this relatively quickly, but we will see. We will see. So there you have it, just a relatively bare bones look at how the actual ErgoDox mod set for DSA Borealis looks. The profile it's flat, it's an even profile, which is a little bit different for me because I'm used to having staggered heights slightly due to the OEM and the Cherry profile. Even though Cherry's not a huge stagger compared to say like OEM is across the rows, having it completely flat, well, might have some reach problems initially, and as you can see, I'm kind of like, I do have to have a bit of a reach to get there. I may require a bit of tilting or tenting to assist with that, but I won't know until I get my brass hardware in, because I'll be putting in, I've got a whole bunch of washers, so I do have the option of stacking up more washers on one side than the other, just to give it a little bit of angle there with it. So, and ignoring the sound that's coming off the actual table from when I'm hitting these, they don't sound too bad at all. The bottoming out isn't actually as clacky compared to some other ABS keycaps. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If it's the first time that you're on our channel, please do check out some of our other content. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you're not familiar with our podcast series, head over to www.theboardpodcast.com. It's all one word. Or just make sure you keep an eye out on the Reddit subreddit Mechanical Keyboards for whenever we post our podcasts. You can also do searches using the podcast tag, and you'll find other podcast series, which is the Capcast, hosted by our good friend Koz with his mates Crytone and Zorb. And then, of course, there's always the weekly Top Clack that's happening with Quakems, Politary, Man of Interests. And I also note that the Board Makers has made a return. So that is done with Jack Humbert, I think is his name, who was the one who did the ortholinear keyboards designs. So if you're looking for more content, maybe podcast material, something for the drive or a train ride or a bike ride, then there's plenty of stuff out there. So, until next time, happy clacking.